history of dentists, third generation, parents, siblings, all in the dental field. And Dr. Hakemian spends a lot of time traveling around the world providing humanitarian care for others. He's a multi-practice owner from Los Angeles, California. Countless accolades over the years I've seen Dr. Hakemian earn. And also, he's just a good, kind human being. It's a great pleasure to have him with us today. On top of all of this, if this is not enough, Dr. Hakemian is also the CEO of Dentulu, a new platform for teledentistry, which we will be discussing today, amid all of these issues going around in our profession. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Hakemian.
Thank you so much for having me, Keanu.
So you're a well of knowledge about the coronavirus and how it pertains to our industry. I want to get to that alongside also your idea of teledentistry. A lot of our viewers don't know much about teledentistry or the applicable laws. But first, let's dive in. Over the last few days, things have escalated very dramatically across the entire supply chain. You're doing a lot of podcasts with a lot of industry leaders. What are you learning? Where is this heading for us? There's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I had an inclination that this is where it was headed in January, to be completely honest with you, and I was shocked that that so many people, from the administration to doctors and just everybody, was just not paying attention. I had the pleasure of going to the Chicago show, and then I was in Florida, and the midwinter meeting. I was wondering, like, is this something that's just going to stay within China? And sure enough, we and I was actually freaking out, sanitizing my hands and taking all the precautions most people are starting to take now. Uh, Back in the Chicago meeting, and I think the saying that if you want to see into the future, just look to the past. I think if you want to see what's going to happen in the United States, just look at what happened in China and what's happening in China. And I think for me, that's been one of the things that's helped me kind of stay a little bit ahead. And speaking to my counterparts in China has really also helped in trying to figure out and try to strategize as to what's about to happen here. And my understanding is actually in China, dental offices have been pretty much shut down completely for the last several months. And after 3 months now, people are just starting to apply to have their dental offices at least start to see some emergencies. Most of the emergencies have been forced to take a test first and see if they are actually infected. And after they have been cleared, then they are cleared to go to the hospital where their emergencies are treated. So if the Chinese manner in which this has been handled is going to be eventually applied here, I believe that dental offices will be completely shut down here over the next month or two. And to be honest with you, in my humble opinion, and we can talk about this a little bit further, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it. I think it's probably necessary, as we are the number one top 1% at risk groups, because of the nature of our business. We have been advised to have social distancing and stay 6 feet away from uh, potentially infected people. And most of the dentists I know are between 6 to 12 inches of their patients. Um, I have been advised, based on literature, that the N95 masks, which we can't even get, have diameters of the pores are 3 microns in diameter, whereas the actual virus has a diameter of 1.2 microns. So even the N95 masks, which we can't get, don't protect us. Uh, several articles have come out and said that the aerosols can land in our eyes and infect us that way. So the traditional loops with the side protection don't help us because these aerosols actually linger in the air for several hours. So we have to have full eye protection. We have to have N95 masks. Actually, to be honest with you, we should have respirators if we are going to truly protect ourselves. It has been well documented that patients are asymptomatic at the early stages, so we can have perfectly healthy looking and feeling patients that are in our offices and who are infecting our staff and ourselves with these aerosols lingering in the air for hours at a time and landing on everything. Uh, it has already been documented that the aerosols, once they land on metals, can stay virulent for potentially days. And so I'm boggled, and I've tried to think about how we can potentially clean everything and sterilize everything or disinfect. It's impossible to sterilize everything, but at least disinfect the rooms, our cabinets, our gloves, our syringes, our masks, everything that we generally stock in our rooms can be potentially infectious. And so um, these are really these are really some of the main concerns I think we have to take into consideration. I think early on we were misinformed that us healthy young individuals without pre-existing conditions would potentially just get over this, and that has been shown to be false. People are having permanent lung damage with up to 20% of permanent damage as a result of fibrosis. So it's pretty scary, and to top it
Let me
all
ask
off.
some questions. Let me ask some questions about this stuff. There's a lot of misinformation out there. You go into the news, one minute you hear that China has got no new cases. The next minute you hear there's 200 and some deaths in this country and that. So it's very hard to discern what is right or not. Maybe you can comment on that. And also, um, the airborne situation is very concerning. There's also a legality issue. I was reading articles about people treating people, and you think the government is joking or somebody is taking you for a ride, but at the end of the day, if that patient gets it somewhere else and you actually saw that patient in your office, they can pin it on you, and then you're
Right.
looking at millions of dollars of damages because
Your staff. Your
you
staff.
expose you expose the patient to a contagion, which is considered as some kind of neglect.
Not just your
Um,
patients, your staff. You're belittling and minimizing the recommendations of the American Dental Association. DSOs and group practices are still recommending that certain patients are seen.
don't get me
And
started on
again,
those group practices. You know what happens?
well, listen. Let me tell you, and so when now we're trying to. I wrote a really heartfelt letter yesterday, and I posted it, and I'd be happy to share it with you guys. But I went back to you know, first do no harm, and the 88 principles on ethics that we agreed to, and I was just trying to have some perspective here on I understand our offices are getting shut down, we have bills to pay, our livelihoods are concerned, we have never been in this situation before, but just the legal implications of go try and find coronaviruslawsuits.com, 1-800 coronavirus. All the lawyers have already purchased all the domains related to the legal issues that are gonna come out in a couple of months. Like, this is not the beginning. And besides the health issues, I mean, the massive economic implications that we're gonna have, the worst drop in the stock market,
Last
and
time I talked to you, it was down 3,000. Today it's down again, close to 1,000. You're dipping
crazy.
into the 1800s. It's down on the 19. I mean, you're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars of market value and people's savings and 401ks just up in smoke. Yeah. So what makes you think this is different for those people that are questioning the rhetoric coming out from both sides? How do you think it's different from swine flu, influenza, any of those things?
You know, I think you think a more important question I'd like to pose to me is, how do you think we are going to be looked upon in a year or two? This is probably something that's never going to be forgotten. People are going to be talking about this for years to come. And how are we as a community, as a dental community, going to be looked upon? Because this too shall pass. You know, we're not all going to die, and this will be something that we will overcome. But I wonder, how will we be looked upon when people just kind of take a, a look back and say, you know, look at these dentists, look at these healthcare professionals. These are the guys that we trust our lives with. We've been telling patients for years that, you know, dental issues can kill you, and we can, you know, your mouth can predispose you to Alzheimer's and prostate gland and enlargement and early term, you know, births. And so we've been you know, telling the public, you know, we are doctors, you know, and first do no harm, you know, and we've taken this Hippocratic oath, and now we're trying to relabel prophies and SRPs as life-threatening emergencies to try to still have some kind of an income. And now we have dentists. We have one half of dentists and all these groups fighting the other half as to, you know, should we continue,
I
and
gave
what
up.
am I going to
I
do?
started with this, and I said I don't quite buy into it at the beginning. But then once I realized the crux of the matter, I actually closed down. And I'm today in the office because today was the day we were gonna go and just attend to 4 or 5 emergencies and patients in pain. There was a root canal. I just opened it up and put some, did a little cleaning and shaping, and put some calcium hydroxide in there and covered it up with Cavit and told the patient we'll finish up later. And then there was a couple other cases. So, and I canceled my appointment on the radio for a local community because they called me and said, all the dentists are closing. Are you going to provide emergency care? And I said, I'm not going to provide emergency care to new patients that are coming from other offices. If they want to call my office, and
Yeah.
they should get emergency care from their own provider. They can't 100% close down. I mean, where are these people supposed to go? They're suffering, they're hurting. So here's we're gonna get into the next phase of the discussion.
Keanu, on that point, let me tell you how big of an opportunity this is for dentists who are so worried about closing their offices and losing their income. If we just maintain some form of ethics here, and really do what the right thing here, and protect not only our staff, our patients, and our own health, our family's health, there's still a way to generate income here, and there's still a way to help society and community. 2.2 million visits are made to emergency rooms annually. 2.2 million people go to emergency rooms alone. I'm not even including the dental office and urgent care centers for dental related emergencies every single
It's always
year.
the same story. They get antibiotics.
Where are these 2.2 million going to go? Where are they going to go now? So, and now that dental offices are shut off and
It's more.
closed down, we're going to have double or triple the amount of emergencies. And hospitals are not where we're going to send these people, right? With cross infection, we're going to deplete the hospitals of masks and of precious resources. So
All they
now
do
we
is
have,
give antibiotics and pain medication anyway. So what's the point? They give you
well,
antibiotics, pain medication, say go see your dentist Monday. It's always the
if
same.
there's no dentist Monday, there's no dentist available on Monday. But if the oral health is really indicative of general health, and if we really believe the truth, which is that bacteria from the mouth and your oral health can have a direct impact on your immune system, then we have an obligation and a crucial role in preventing the exacerbation of this coronavirus. And dentists must be actively involved in addressing dental infections and dental related pain. And so how do we do this? How do we somehow prevent the cross contamination and cross infection of others, while at the same time helping these millions of people? And that's what we have to, I think, focus our attention on, and not cutting veneers and trying to justify doing prophies and SRPs and dancing around, you know, the American Dental Association and other associations' recommendations. And I think that's how we will be really looked upon is how we handle these situations, how we came together and addressed this, and what kind of a role we played. And I would hate for us to have contributed uh, in the exacerbation of this by doing whitenings and and cleanings and you know cosmetic crowns and bridges and implants in a time when when there is so much unknown. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right about the emergencies, but I think that we have an instrumental role to play, and that's why we've petitioned Congress to directly mandate that dentists uh, are are really taken care of. We need supplies. We need masks. We need the right masks. We can't be running out of gloves and cavicide. And it's time for the American Dental Association, who's very successfully in the past lobbied Congress. I was very proud of the American Dental Association for lobbying Congress a couple of years ago and helping with increased access to care. It's time now to help dentists get masks and get consistent protocols and force and really force these supply companies to not limit us on supplies, but open up their supplies and really bring down the prices and create a steady stream of protective equipment that will not be exposing us, our patients, and our staff to potentially deadly disease.
So, speaking of this concept of the 2 million plus of the emergencies, um, you came up with an idea a few years ago, and if I recall from how you came up with the idea, it was at a conference where you saw something that was already public pertaining the internet, and we came about with this would be a big solution because the hospitals, from data that I read, spend billions of dollars every year. Well, there you go, guys. There's a demo for how to properly do your hand washing regularly.
I keep
But
touching my face, so I keep sanitizing every every 30 minutes.
apparently, we touch our face a couple of thousand times a day too. But the
Yeah.
solution that you're talking about, it's very interesting to me because a lot of times you are behind our medical colleagues. When I was in the stem cell space, and I'm still in the stem cell space, these guys have been doing some of this stuff for 30 years. It blows my mind. And telemedicine has gotten big to the point where insurance companies and now the government is endorsing it. And teledentistry, what a concept. What can we do? What can't we do? How does this help us in the crisis? Can you give us a little bit of information about Dentulu, how it came about, and what you propose during these troubling times?
I first started getting involved in this in while assisting with setting up some protocols in Guatemala for a couple of NGOs providing mobile care in underserved communities. And I was doing surgeries and I came back to the United States after performing a lot of these surgeries, and I had zero follow up with any of these patients. I didn't know how they were healing. I didn't know if they were progressing okay, if there was post-operative issues. And so, that was one of the things that was going on. And at the same time, I've been going to dental conventions with my father, who's practiced dentistry for 45 years. I remember going to a show at the California Dental Association in Anaheim. And I remember, I don't know, like several hundred dentists lined up for this booth. And I was just wondering, like, what is it that these guys are so interested in? And I realized that it was just basically this company had remote login into your computers, and all the dentists were so happy that they can finally access their computers and their charts from home. And I was thinking to myself, this is a free software. Like, how I didn't, and I realized there, I was like, we are so focused on improving our practices and our clinical uh, you know knowledge that we really haven't really paid attention to the technological advances. So I said to myself, I said, look, I'm gonna really play a proactive role in trying to implement technology that is readily available, and see if we can increase access and make dentists' life easier, and see if dentists can help patients around the world. There's no reason why I can't follow up with my patient in Guatemala or in Korea or in another state. So I kind of got involved in this technology, and I found some really amazing developers in Silicon Valley. And several years ago, about 3 years ago, we started creating the software that will allow dentists to actually communicate with their patients directly on a HIPAA compliance network. Where we can do video conferencing, we can chat with our patients without having to give our cell phone number out, creating virtual appointment rooms and virtual offices where our patients can schedule to do consults. I got really involved with marketing, thanks to Ed Zuckerberg, a dentist out of Florida whose son actually created Facebook. Ed was the first person to show me how to do social media advertising, and I thought to myself, I said, why are we capturing leads, these dead leads all the time? Why can't we have these patients just set up virtual consults with us and we can discuss their case virtually and see if they're a right fit for my office instead of
Smart.
trying to
That's
try to have someone bring them into the office and then realize that they couldn't afford the treatment, or they didn't, they wanted a material I didn't use. So why not just do these consults virtually? And then and we were also sending out hygienists and mid-level practitioners under my general supervision, working for my office, to elementary schools and to workplaces doing on-site dentistry. And I didn't have to leave my office. I got to monitor everything from the comfort of my office. And all these things were the early beginnings of teledentistry. And I bet you didn't know that the biggest teledentistry company is Smile Direct Club. They actually
that,
went direct to consumers with teledentistry, and I said, if we are not utilizing the technology properly from within, companies like Smile Direct Club are going to come and go straight to
scoop it up.
consumers.
Yep, as
You know,
always.
so
It's
so here
always
we
better
are.
when things are on our own with the
That's
dentist.
right.
That's a wonderful
So
idea. I think there's quite a bit of potential here, especially for doctors that want to cut their hours, retired guys, people that want to have some sort of a rapport with their patients. Some people that want to evaluate new patients potentially for the practice. It saves a lot of time. It costs $9, $10, $11, $12 to set up a room, to bring somebody in and snap an X-ray and see that
right,
you guys completely don't jive in terms of the practice.
right.
But
At least,
again, a lot of times we put on that smile and treat anybody that comes to our doors anyway. I do that with everybody, and I'm sure all the colleagues do. But it would be good to have an evaluation, I think, from the teledentistry. And right
yeah.
now for the emergencies on the weekends. So tell us about the laws. Let's say on a Saturday or Sunday. I personally, in my area, in Palm Desert, Palm Springs area, most dentists shut down on Thursdays. They're having a good time golfing, partying. I open up on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, so I get slammed on the weekends. And so during the
Kiara,
weekend,
I lost you. I can't see you anymore. Check your camera. But while you're doing that, I'll answer your question. Uh, Legally in different states, um, you are able to provide supervision with teledentistry. In many states, you can actually establish a patient as a patient of records through teledentistry. So if you go through the proper health history, if you discuss with the patient, their chief complaint, you go over everything you would ordinarily in the office, um, you actually can prescribe medication over a teledental visit. You can establish patients as a patient of records over a teledental visit. So it's really powerful, especially right now when we have to close our offices. We can actually continue to prescribe medications. We can actually continue to charge for our visits. There are actual codes. There's codes for teledentistry, and in fact, in the last couple of days, several insurance companies have come out and agreed to pay for these visits. So Medicare was already doing this, but now you can go home, continue your conversations with your patients, and still bill for these procedures, even though you're nowhere near your office. So I think serendipitously, it's put teledentistry on the map. But I think most importantly, we can maintain continuity of care. We can do our follow-ups with our patients virtually. All these video conferences get recorded on our platform, and we can actually share those with the insurance companies and get paid for those. And then we can actually put these in the patient's charts. So if you just placed an implant today or did an extraction or a soft tissue graft, and now you have to send a patient home and you can't see what's going on inside their mouth, you can actually purchase cameras like these. This is the world's first intraoral camera for consumers. It's $25. It's I want to call it the feather light. Uh, it's a feather camera, but you can send patients home with these, and you can actually see inside their mouths. You can actually monitor the patient's healing with this. Um, so we can use this technology to really help a lot of people and still maintain continuity of care and alleviate some of these pressures that we're unfortunately seeing as a result of the closures of our offices.
That's wonderful. So, how does that work? How do we get signed up with the app? I know I have done it before. Um, are you currently having any specials? I know you had some fees at the beginning when you launched it recently, and you made a gracious effort to help a lot of dentists now by waiving all your fees. Can you tell us more about that, please?
Yeah, we've agreed to. We pretty much waived all our fees. We have, we waived our setup fees. We waived our onboarding fees. We're a subscription-based platform, and I think in these times of crisis, it's more important for us to add value to our dentist and really try to do our part and protect our dentists if they are they're obligated and they have a fiduciary duty to make sure they protect their patients. And I'm afraid that a lot of dentists will expose themselves unnecessarily as a result of this duty. And if we can provide uh, this benefit of being able to follow up and alleviate pain and help our patients without exposing ourselves, then I think this is something we definitely in Dentulu want to be a part of. So all dentists, all dental professionals, all dental offices, DSOs can now download our software, and they can do that on their iPhone, on an Android, on the web. They can go to your app store and download the Dentulu app. Now the Dentulu app, there's one for patients, and then there's a provider app. So if you want to sign up as a provider, basically just download the app. You'll go through a credentialing process. We want to make sure that it's a licensed dentist. Ordinarily, this takes several weeks. There's an onboarding process. Someone will call you and help you throughout the process. Right now, we are just onboarding so many people at the same time that it's going to be a lot quicker. But we're creating a lot of instructional videos and tutorials to help throughout the process, and we have people that are going to be able to help you if you have any issues. But download the app, create yourself a profile, and create yourself a virtual appointment, and give yourself a description. If you want to receive a lot of emergency calls, which we anticipate getting over the next several weeks to months, make sure you put yourself as an emergency dentist, and then also put yourself as a general dentist or a periodontist or an endodontist. So when patients are looking for an emergency dentist, they'll be able to see who's available. It's geo-tagged with people in your area, so you can potentially pick these patients up as patients of records, and you can have a 10-minute conversation with someone and see if they're having a legitimate emergency. And if they have an abscess, if there's something going on, you can prescribe them medication based on local and state laws. And you can
They have to be a patient of record, right? Or is it a new patient?
Yeah, you have to. No, you have to. Well, patients of record, your existing patients, that's
No,
easy.
yeah.
If they're already existing patients, you can sign up on our platform, send out our templates to your patients, and you can use our platform for free. Inform your patients that they can contact you, and if one of your existing patients requires medications, you can definitely call them, prescriptions through the platform. Um, but if they are not your existing patients, and if it's a completely new patient, we will actually geotag patients to dentists on our network, and the dentist can establish them as a patient of records through the teledentistry, exam. And if they see it fit and it's appropriate, you can call in a prescription for antibiotics and pain medication and Paradex until you get a chance to see them inside the office. Um, and that's, I think, where we're going to play an instrumental role in handling these 2.2 million emergency patients that would otherwise go to the emergency room, and the new patients whose dentists are closed right now and who need help. So you can acquire patients, you can get paid for those visits, and potentially bill the insurances for these as they continue to bring more codes out. I've been in talks with Delta Dental and with Cigna and several other insurance companies, Unum, and I'm happy to see that they are taking a proactive approach, and I'm very proud of them for putting their providers and their patients first and helping out in these really monumental times.
Well, tell you what, when I got out of dental school, I always wanted a mobile dental office. I thought it was a pretty good idea to be able to travel around. But there's also a mobile component to your business and to what you have built. So, I'm thinking some dentists might be interested in doing this more on a full-time basis if they like it and they see how easy and comfortable it is to be able to answer questions from the comfort of your home in your pajamas, and then be able to run out with your car if the revenue justifies it. I don't know. Some might be interested in doing that more than going to a brick and mortar type place. So, how does that work with your mobile? I know you have the camera and the other things. How does that work?
Well, let's just talk about the camera here for a second, right? So we can leave these cameras. We can give these patients a camera, and they can take it home, and we can monitor them, and actually have them keep it, and always have this direct link with our patients. But imagine giving one of these to the local elementary school. It's a $25 camera, for God's sake. So for a couple $100, you can have this camera in every urgent care center with medical doctors in your area. You can have it with hospices and senior living centers. And imagine giving one of these to your local emergency room and equipping them with a intraoral sensor, a Nomad, and an intraoral camera. And now all these patients that are going to emergency rooms, the information can be sent electronically to you through the Dentulu app, and you can evaluate the patient's needs, talk to the medical doctor in the emergency room, see what it is that the patient needs, give them a recommendation, and then take this high converting emergency patient and schedule them into your office same day or next day. And it's a win-win for the hospital, the patient, and your office. So there's and to be honest with you, I am very proud of some of my I don't even like to call them competitors. Brant, Maria, some of the CEOs of other teledentistry companies have been advocating this stuff, and we have all been trying to explain to dentists that this is something that can be monumental and instrumental in just everyday practice. And it took the coronavirus to kind of put it to their attention, while everyone's forced to listen to now at home. But I think it's a misconception that mobile dentistry and teledentistry can become a competition for offices. It couldn't be anything. that's nothing. That's nothing to be concerned about. Mobile hygienists going out there to do cleanings in senior living centers and elementary schools are not your competition. They are actually providing a very necessary service to the public, and actually sending you all the restorative cases. They're not cutting crowns or doing pulpotomies or extractions. They're screening patients and actually referring these patients. So a dental office can theoretically have several hygienists work on behalf of their office as their employees, on behalf of them, going out there and screening patients, performing cleanings, making them money, and then at the same time referring these patients back to the office for their restorative work. We have companies. We have several companies that are doing on-site cleanings at businesses, And you can actually sign up and do this under Dentulu and actually provide on-site cleanings at local businesses who all have wellness programs. Yeah, Google, Netflix. We just came back from Patient Pop, and we were cleaning. We were doing prophies and cleanings and exams for all the employees at Patient Pop, who we also use for my office. And
But you're familiar with that because you do this at humanitarian missions in Latin America and Central America.
But why do it in Latin America? We can do it in our backyards. All these people have PPO insurance. They have zero. You don't have to pay the deductible. Most of these things are covered at 100%. So you walk in, you have a full day schedule of hygiene appointments already at on site, and we have these mobile carts that we can take there. We don't even need these bulky trucks or converted buses. We take some mobile equipment, we perform the dentistry, and then we refer them back to our office, and then we have restorative care. And I don't see why every dental office and DSO and practitioner doesn't do this, helping the community, making money, and establishing. It's a real funnel, not an online marketing funnel. It's a real funnel. You go out there and really participate in your community, and you establish these long-term relationships, and now you get paid for it, which is unbelievably helpful in motivating dentists to actually participate in this evolution of dentistry. So I think for the most immediate concern of the coronavirus, I think dentists should absolutely learn about teledentistry and telemedicine. Um, they should become familiarized with it. Download the Dentulu app, make yourself a profile, or go to our website and create a profile for yourself. It's free, and start learning about it. And uh, all the softwares are adding features. They're all gonna have little glitches. None of us are Google or Facebook yet. So there's little glitches, and every single time a feature gets added, there's a little bit of issues. But you're really gonna be at the forefront of the direction both medicine and dentistry are going towards. And why not participate now? Uh, you know, uh, Instead of complaining about how companies, who are not from within dentistry, utilize technology. How many dentists are complaining about Smile Direct Club sending aligners direct to consumers? How many people have I heard just complaining about that? So, well, they're gonna do the same thing if these corporations take teledentistry and start going direct to consumers and cut out the dentists. And so I think it behooves us to at least take this opportunity to learn about it and see how we can implement it and incorporate our own little twist on it, and start utilizing this now. So when this is all over, we're at least familiar with it, and hopefully utilizing different verticals to try to help our patients, increase our patient acquisition, our patient retention, free up some chair time, and make some more money while helping a lot of patients.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about the coronavirus because I heard some amazing recommendations from our Chinese counterparts, things that I would have never thought about.
So we're gonna get into that, but to leave it off with the Dentulu,
Sure.
the HDA app is the one to download because a lot of people, myself, I'm
the provider app. Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you for extending this waiver for all of our colleagues to get on. You're quite a selfless guy in most of your endeavors. Dr. Hakim.
And I want you guys to really get familiarized with these cameras. These are wireless cameras that you can purchase for $25. We don't make any money on this. We're just enabling you guys to help your patients and be able to monitor inside the patient's mouth. So we can get you guys these cameras. We have several thousand of these right now going out to dental offices, and these are $25. We don't make anything off these, and you can give these to your patients. So if you want to monitor whatever you need to, you can just have them put it inside their mouth, and you can see what's going on from the comfort of your home. And not only this, we have electronic prescription capabilities. We have patient education videos on our platform. We have video chats. We have encrypted chats. We have file sharing where patients can send you pictures of their teeth, videos of themselves, and we have collaborative features where dentist, a specialist, the office manager, the treatment coordinator, and hopefully in the very near future, even the insurance companies will be able to utilize teledentistry to approve cases quickly and efficiently. So make your lives easier and download the Dentulu app. And if not the Dentulu app, download another teledentistry app and become familiarized with this technology and start using it today. And I would be happy to share codes on teledentistry. I would be happy to uh, you know actually recommend you to our competitors. It doesn't matter who you use, just use somebody, and don't spend all of your time every 5 minutes checking up on the latest updates and creating fear and anxiety for yourself. Give yourself a little break. Monitor your patients. You can check the news once or twice a day, and and stay healthy and stay active and get some rest and sleep and eat well. And we'll get through this. And let's do so in style. Let's do so by coming together and not bickering and fighting about whether we should keep our dental offices open, and how to look for gray areas on what is and what is not an emergency. And perfect segue if you want to discuss the coronavirus. I have a lot of things to share with you on that as well. But I appreciate you giving us this platform, Dr. Shaw, to discuss what we're doing and how we're trying to help, and hopefully a lot of people will take advantage of it and start utilizing these technologies.
All right, Arash Hakimian, lay it on us. The news on the coronavirus. What have you heard? When is this going to pass? What are the Chinese doing? The Italians, the Persians, the South Koreans, and all the hotbeds.
Well, I'll tell you a couple of things that I know and that I've been utilizing in my office. So, and these are things that I really want you guys to research on your own and learn a little bit more about. But ozone therapy. So we have these amazing ozone machines in my office, and I was trying to think of how do I kill this virus that's potentially aerosolized and sitting all on all my instruments and the cabinetry and my chairs, and I want to make sure that the crew coming in is not the patients the next day or my staff the next day, if I have to do an emergency, are not potentially exposed. And you can purchase one of these. I purchased this on Amazon, and I didn't know if they're going to be available. So we purchased a couple hundred of these, and if they become unavailable, you guys can get it from Dentulu as well. But yeah, I'm
Amazon
really
is
excited.
having trouble with shipping stuff.
Did you? Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know how we'll get it to you, but the dental offices are open. But you can get one of these, and after everyone's gone, just turn it on, and it will pretty much kill all the spores, the virus, the bacteria, everything inside. It kills supposed to kill a lot of all the organic uh, matter in your office. You should not be in the office when this is on. It's very bad for your lungs while it's in the air. But you can turn it on, and by the time you get in the next day, you'll have this distinct smell in your office that I personally really much enjoy. But you can rest assured that there will be a significantly reduced or denatured count of bacteria, virus, spores, uh, fungi. And another thing that we utilize, and I don't know if I have one here, but I'll see if I can bring it out before, are UV lights, UV sterilization lights. So you can purchase these, and these UV lights, which you shouldn't stare at, and you shouldn't point at your skin, can actually denature and kill bacteria, virus, and again, fungi, and these can also be used to kind of uh, clean and decrease the viral count on the surfaces of your instruments and on your chairs, on your cabinets. So those two things I've been using in my office. Interestingly enough, I heard from a Chinese doctor that I was speaking to a couple of days ago that if you live in a apartment building, or if you work and practice inside of a medical building, people in other units can infect you because the HVAC systems are actually moving these aerosolized virus, and so it's going through the HVAC, and someone in the third floor can infect other people on the second or fourth floor or third floor or fifth floor. So the HVAC systems have to be cut off. Going to the bathroom. So when someone goes to the bathroom and they flush the
Wow.
toilet, a lot of the feces and these little small particles become aerosolized, and they stay in the air for several hours. So if you're working at a dental office with
No
uh,
toilet paper.
yeah, no toilet paper. Hide your toilet paper, guys. I've heard stories of toilet paper being stolen. It's
Really?
amazing, right? It's incredible. Toilet paper and masks and hand sanitizers.
Mayhem
Uh,
happens after about 4 or 5 days of lacking supplies. People quickly change from being so nice anymore, you know?
well, yeah, you have if not the assistants, the cleaning crew and the patients are all trying to make sure. And I can understand it's desperate times. They're thinking about protecting themselves and their family members. So whatever your point of views on that, I think that these are desperate people looking for a way. I don't know if the cleaning crew or your patients know where to order N95 masks or surgical masks or gloves. Anyway, so I think that these things are becoming aerosolized in bathrooms. So someone goes to a public restroom and this stuff is in the air and they're breathing it in. It can potentially cause some cross cross contamination. So avoid public places. Don't leave your house. Make sure you're wiping everything down. Try to ozone the premises. And in my offices, we've actually boarded up many of my offices because we're afraid of potentially having riots in the area.
Wow.
So I also have a ozone turned on to full blast, and anyone actually walks in that office, won't be able to actually enter it for a couple hours either. So we're not planning on opening up anytime soon. But ozone, UV sterilization, close the lid of your toilet when you guys are flushing, and turn off the HVAC systems. Definitely preoperative rinses with peroxide, and I use diluted bleach, 1 part bleach, 20-part water. Chlorhexidine does not kill this virus. Make sure you guys are sealing your eyes with protective goggles. Cover your hair and protective disposable gowns, because the stuff can land on your hair and on your clothes, and you can take that home with you. I recommend you move all of your masks, your gloves, pretty much everything outside of each operatory, and bringing in only what you need. This makes cleaning after every single procedure a lot easier. Rubber dams are a must. I don't recommend using cabotrons or high speed
Oh, you're
handraces.
saying rubber dams for all procedures, like fillings, everything?
Everything,
Just everything.
everything. Yeah, and you want to do a preoperative rinse. Uh, and have you seen the videos of I've seen videos of holistic dentists that they're taking out amalgam. Have you seen those videos? They're in like full
Yeah,
hazmat suits, and
they
you need. This is the
yeah.
one time where I feel like it may actually be appropriate to go to actually dress like that while you're performing dentistry. Take that same exact precaution. But if you really want to see the way you can protect yourself, just look at the way that these guys in China are actually protecting themselves. And now you'll soon see these in America, how they go and clean public areas, full hazmat suits, full protection. If that's the level of protection necessary to avoid catching the coronavirus, why would you think that the same level of protection would not be applicable in a dental office? And for God's sakes, if you want to avoid all of that, stay home. Stay home. And start utilizing
I think it was
technology.
actually a nice opportunity to catch up with life, with family, maybe hit the
Right.
gym a little bit if you have a little gym at home or you got a little corner you can work out. get back on good eating, and maybe it's a great opportunity to catch on with life, the important things, you know.
Keanu, I have known you for years now, and I admire you very much for various reasons. But one of the things I admire most about you is that you not only graduate, I think you were valedictorian of your class, but also I believe you got your MBA while still studying as a dentist, while practicing as a dentist, and I always thought like, wow, we've got zero education on business, and what I did, I was on YouTube most of the time I had, just watching videos, listening to initially Robert Kiyosaki or Ray Dalio, and a variety of other, uh, you know, lecturers on the subject. So this might be a good time that we actually go educate ourselves about business and realize how we can uh, address the impending depression that's about to hit us financially, and how we can position ourselves in a way where the massive change of change of funds that's about to take place. There's going to be a huge
You see a
huge
lot of that in
movement.
history, Doc. You're looking at also not just as a side effect of this pandemic, recession, depression. Business cycles, small businesses can't sustain more than 2-3 months
Yeah.
worth of savings, and then they go belly up. So if this sustains and the government doesn't intervene in some capacity, you're looking at a lot of our colleagues facing the loss of their practices, which will create more mayhem with patients out there.
Right.
But I can tell you one thing: when these kind of things happen, there's a big wealth transfer.
Big
Some
time.
of the biggest wealth transfers in history happened during these kind of scenarios, especially like the Great Depression, and then you had different recessions in 2018. So the smart ones will find ways to create solutions for that don't exist, and will capitalize on it. And you see a lot of that. Some of it is self-serving at this time in this troubling times, but it doesn't prevent a vast majority of people out there
Well,
from
the
exploiting.
government's definitely going to do something about it. You know what the government's doing about it? It's called
$1,000
helicopter.
check.
It's called
You can
helicopter
send a
money.
$1,000 check.
Huh?
They send you $1,000 check. It costs more than $1,000 to open the door every day.
It's
So
helicopter money. They're gonna drop money with helicopters. They don't even have to
really,
print it anymore. Yeah, Ben Bernanke was interviewed, and he's like, yeah, we don't even print money anymore. He's like, we don't have to print. We open up the account and we press a couple of buttons and we just add zeros, and like, really, just what
just like
what
that.
what do these guys think is going to happen when they just
But
continue
that's
to
the
print?
central bank of central banks. I mean, that's the central bank. They can print up as much money as they want, but that devalues the dollar. It
Right.
creates a lot of problems that way. It's yet to be seen. There's supposedly a word coming out for a $1 trillion stimulus, which is a giant amount of stimulus. Just imagine it's comparable to the real estate market in New York. So a very giant stimulus package for the United States to come. I don't know how that helps me versus the person that didn't go to dental school or doesn't have $500,000 worth of debt or all of that. I mean, to send a check for $1,000 to these people that are asked to stay home to save humanity and the spread of this virus doesn't work for everybody. $1,000 in the scheme of things is nothing for us. I mean, it doesn't solve any problems.
Well, what I have a policy in my office, and one of the things I lecture and teach, teach and consult on, in having, good, high converting exams, is to try to present your treatment plans in payments to help patients. I really believe that, and I tell this directly to my patients. I said, look, I can tell you everything that you need, and then you can go save little by little, and eventually you'll have enough to do the procedure. But by the time you've saved them enough money to actually do the procedure, the entire procedure has changed now. So I'm a huge advocate of, and I have been a huge advocate of care credit and payment plans in Lending Club, and I've used all of them. I was probably one of the top 2%. They sent me a letter once that I was one of the top 2% uh, guys on care credit, and I believe in it because I believe we can give immediate help to our patients and allow them to make payment plans, right? So, but now I'm absolutely worried that we have potentially tons of credits that we're going to have to issue because we collect everything up front and we plan on doing the procedures. But now the patient's going to receive checks in the mail and they're going to receive their statements in the mail and they have to continue making payments and we can't do the procedures. So now we're going to have to issue refunds. And so that's a huge concern for me. So I'm hoping that these companies stop forcing the patients to pay, and obviously very much hopeful that we don't have to pay our student loans and our mortgages, and so I hope they relax those laws. I started a petition which I think has thousands and thousands of signatures right now, and I really would invite you to share this with your followers. Petition the administration to not only,
I
uh,
saw that. I saw that. I actually signed it.
yeah,
Um,
please share that.
that's a pretty good one. So, Doc, this is amazing information. I think I'd like to have you back on if possible. You're a hard man to get these days, and I understand you work around the clock. I've seen you work in the hours of the mornings. I've seen you when I woke up in the hours of the mornings. So you're around the clock kind of guy, and I really admire what you're doing as well. So keep it up. Please consider coming back on next week. Let's see how this thing develops. Hopefully there'll be some good news, and we can all pass. But you know, once character shows most in times of trouble like this, so the ones that are doing everything they can
Right.
to prevent this are really going to be appreciated in the long run and saving other people's lives.
I agree.
Thank you so much for your time, Doctor, and I look forward to having you back again soon, and I'll post the materials about Tulu for our colleagues to explore.
Thank you guys so much. God bless and take good care.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye.